Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Mr. President.
The day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
First of all, I don't know that, but I do know that
She has. She's been arrested for that. You know that.
her friend or boyfriend
Epstein.
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that
Oh,
she's
so you're
guilty?
saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
I mean, she's a child sex, alleged child sex
such a
trafficker.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
He showed me where the men monitoring everything were. So if you're facing the house, there's a window on the right that's barred. That's the room, the media room is what he called it. Yeah. And so there was a door that looked like an invisible door with all this limestone and everything, and you push it and you go in. And I saw all the cameras. What it was like old televisions, basically, like stacked, but they were monitors inside this cabinet. And there were men sitting here, and I looked on the cameras and I saw toilet, bed, toilet, bed. I'm like, I am never going to use the restroom here, and I'm never going to sleep here. It was very obvious that they were like monitoring private moments.
She believes there are tapes. The question is, who has them?
Working in the spa area, I was reading about anatomy and massage, and that's when Ghislaine came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you're reading a book about massage." She told me that she knew of a man who was looking for a traveling masseuse, and if he liked me, then I would get educated and I would become a real massage therapist. So yeah, it was dream of a lifetime until I got there, and the abuse was immediate. She is a monster. She's worse than Epstein.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime for me. I've been on the streets, I've been abused, and that's the worst thing that I could have done, because I just let them know that I'm vulnerable and I'm their perfect type.
She did it because she loves the control over people. Jeffrey was a sick pedophile, but she was the mastermind. I'd like to see Ghislaine stay in jail forever. I'd like her to apologize for what she's done to me and so many others.
And Donald Trump was always hanging out with Epstein, and Ivana was always hanging out with Ghislaine.
Right.
And Ivana would say, "We're going to go pick up Ivana, or Ivana's going to come," and we'd ride in the car with her. And I remember one occasion where Ghislaine's like, "I have to get out right now," and she went and got a number from a child, and in a uniform.
Yeah. And
everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody who surrounded them knew exactly what they were doing.
And
Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's person, like, she went to jail for 25 years for apparently trafficking children to nobody because we won't see those lists and there's no consequence. It's like,
crazy.
Really? Like,
That's
so you're
one of
going
the
after Trump, but this stuff's not an issue? You put someone in jail for 25 years for apparently doing nothing because no one else partook? I don't understand.
Because they're not speaking about the names, yeah.
Yeah.
A very prominent journalist, a very smart one, who said to me that there were some very serious rumors she had heard from influential people in the know that Jeffrey Epstein may have been using his private plane and his island with a series of video cameras, eyes in the sky, Joe, to record people doing things they shouldn't have been doing. Because, Joe, he may have been working with foreign intelligence services, and part of that work may have been getting some of these people on tape doing really bad things.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Oh, damn.
Crazy. It's like bananas.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
It's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing?
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything.
It's very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
Yes, everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public. Yes.
Yet they're saying nothing about this, and these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs.
Restoring trust in our agencies and departments. The way to do that is to literally give the American people the truth. And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in there and maybe give him the Epstein list and maybe give him the P. Diddy list. He's going to come up there and maybe do all these things, and they are terrified.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
So scaring bad guys is something Cash has talked about a lot, and you have when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein and the people who are predators in this country. They've been given a pass, and a lot of Americans think these guys got a pass for a long time, and maybe even are still being protected right now. Where are we at with the Jeffrey Epstein list, the documents? And Cash has made a lot of public statements about this. Where are we at?
I was briefed on that yesterday. I can't talk about that publicly, but President Trump has given a very strong directive, and that's going to be followed.
Wow. Okay. So
a lot of documents.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So people can expect actual movement on this. It's not just empty promises.
Oh. Donald Trump doesn't make empty promises.
Yeah, right.
I think promises made, promises kept, and that's why we're all there to carry out his directive about making America safe and prosperous.
Exactly. Same thing.
Great.
It's the same thing with the Diddy list. It's like we just don't want to see these predators get away with it every single time, right?
Over this will make you sick. 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well, we'll
along
look for
with his
that.
co-defendant.
Field office in New York was hanging onto files from the Epstein case. She wants those files delivered to DOJ. She wrote the FBI Director Patel, I'm directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and propose personnel action within 14 days. She wanted them delivered here at the DOJ by 8 a.m. this morning. We asked if they arrived. No word yet. Mr. Patel said in a statement, Director Patel said in a statement, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. The rollout yesterday, Bill, was unique. The White House invited pro-Trump social media influencers to meet with the President, Attorney General, and FBI Director. These influencers were given a binder that said Epstein Files on the front. The influencers teased this big release with new information, but it turned up largely dry. Trump ally, Republican Congresswoman from Florida, Anna Paulina Luna, didn't have time for the stunt, posting on social media, this is not what we or the American people asked for, and a complete disappointment. Give us the information we asked for. Once the documents do arrive, Bill, here at DOJ, which we expect they will at some point, they have to be redacted for victim protection. And also remember, Ghislaine Maxwell is appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court. That's still an active case, which could further the delay of some of these document releases.
Okay, so we'll see whether it happens or not, in time. David, thank you.
The MAGA group is mad that they don't know more about the Epstein files. The MAGA group is mad that they don't know more about the January 6th investigation. Are you going to give us any more information on these two issues?
Sure. And first to the Epstein, I'm mad that I didn't have more information on Epstein. I was given 200 pages of documents. I've asked Director Patel. He came in after that, of course. I'd asked for those documents prior to Cash coming in. Cash is going to get me all the information. I've asked him to find out why I didn't receive all those documents and he didn't receive all those documents. We've now found out, of course, that they were in New York. We've received truckload of documents of evidence, and Cash is going to give me a deadline on when he can go through that to protect, of course, the victims of sex trafficking who are wrapped into this. And he's going to give me a deadline on when he can get this, and we will get out as much as we can, as fast as we can, to the American people, because they deserve to know. The Biden administration has just sat on for all these years. So yeah, it's really, it's not sad. It's infuriating that these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out. And when we redact things, Sean, what we're going to do is not just pull pages out like they used to do. If something's redacted, you will know the line, and you will know why it's redacted. The victim's name, identifying information of a victim.
Mr. President, you said, when can we expect the Epstein documents to be released? The rest of them?
Which documents?
The Epstein files?
I don't know. I'll speak to the Attorney General about that. I really don't know. We've really announced we're doing them in full transparency.
In closing, any motion on that? Any movement on that? We hear that there's no timeline now.
I hope James has the Epstein files, because I don't think the Department of Justice has them, or at least the Attorney General does not have them, or she would have turned them over. The President ordered them released. The Attorney General ordered them released. We all know they have not been released. And one of my biggest fears that I had, and I expressed this with Kash Patel and a lot of people, Stephen Miller, and a lot of people going into the new administration. I'm like, I hope they're not shredding documents right now. This was a few weeks before the transition. I said, I hope they're not shredding documents.
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm we still haven't heard from you?
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't. Right. There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not. There's video of him killing himself. No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. Right. There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein Files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that, and it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah. There is more coming on the Epstein Files. Listen, I know this is a hot potato for folks. I totally understand. My comments were clear. I'm not paid for my opinions anymore. I work for the taxpayer now. I'm paid on evidence. That's it. The evidence we have in our files clearly indicates that it was, in fact, a suicide. We do have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire. However, the video does show in that specific block that he goes in, made a phone call. You'll see 12 hours of guards going to basically check on him, come back. You'll see no one really comes out in that bay, in that area, than him. There's no one in there. When you combine that with the other evidence we will be releasing in the coming weeks, we're still finalizing some of the products. I think it's pretty clear. However, as I've clearly indicated in some of my tweets on my official account, listen, investigations, if new information surfaces in the future on any of these cases, we're always open. I'm just telling you, there's nothing there in the file at all that indicates anything other than, in fact, a suicide.
We're reviewing everything as meticulously as we can, because that's what we owe the American people. That's our job. And I don't want to rush to the sticks or the podium and just say, hey, look what we found.
Right.
And then be like, oh, sorry, I forgot the 4 seconds. You know, if we miss 4 seconds, they'll be like, oh, well, it's in the 4 seconds you missed.
Right.
So I'm
How much can you talk about what you've seen?
Not yet. Just what I've told you.
Can you say you've seen anything?
No, that's the point, that there's nothing in there, like in the video. You guys would be bored.
You talking about the video of the murder or the suicide?
The suicide.
But what about the video from the island?
Oh, sorry. So you're talking about two different things. So
sorry.
So again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it. Period.
Right.
If I have it.
So
where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
is there video from the island?
Not of what you want. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation.
And I'm like, here's the other thing I've been asking for, right? Openly. If you have information on this, call us. Tell us. The best resource we have is the American people in the world.
Right.
Get me the tail numbers. Get me the flight, get me new information, and I will run that down.
So this narrative might not be accurate, that there's video of these guys doing this.
Exactly.
Is it possible that the video was taken and destroyed?
Well, you're talking about, decades worth of stuff, right? Remember, we have what we have pursuant to lawful search warrants and authorities from the case that was done however many years ago it was done. That's what we have. If other people have other stuff and they want to give it to us, bring it.
Have you guys reviewed everything that you have?
Almost. Yes, we have, and now we're figuring out how to put it out.
But is there footage?
Outside of the only thing I can say right now is if there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
This is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein Files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation.
What is he?
Elon
Have a nice day, DJD. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things.
Yeah.
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
Yeah, he told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein Files? Or does he have access to the Epstein Files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
I know my lane, and that ain't it.
I just don't... I understand he owns Twitter. I think it's bad for your mental health.
Just 1 week ago, President Trump praised Elon Musk. Now he's taking a very different tone.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
President Trump's comments follow days of intensifying criticism from Musk, who blasted the president's massive budget bill, especially cuts to electric vehicle mandates.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here.
Musk unloaded on his social media platform X, not just slamming the bill, but also accusing the president of ties to Jeffrey Epstein, claims the White House strongly denies. President Trump fired back on Truth Social, threatening to cancel billions of federal contracts for the world's richest man.
A new Justice Department memo reveals that the Justice Department has no evidence that convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful people or kept a client list or was murdered in prison. The memo, first reported by Axios, is a sharp turn from the Trump administration's insistence that there was much more to uncover. Even Attorney General Pam Bondi pushed that theory, but today the White House says she didn't really mean to suggest that the list itself was on her desk.
She was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that.
Saying Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
By coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And
how many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
The latest Fox poll shows 80% of registered voters have been following the Epstein case. Of the people who've been following the case, only 13% believe the Trump administration has been open and transparent. The Epstein scandal will not be going away anytime soon.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last week.
Welcome back. Video released by the Justice Department showing the outside of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell just hours before he was found dead has the world watching frame by frame. And one moment is certainly raising eyebrows. The footage cuts and the timestamp jumps a whole minute as questions of the so-called missing minutes spiral into full-blown conspiracy theories. And new reporting shows even more footage may be missing.
You can see it. CBS News has reviewed the tape, and this is what it shows. The primary entrance is here. The pathway from the entrance to the stairs is completely out of view of the camera, leaving ample room for someone to enter unseen. This is the last time Epstein is believed to have been seen on camera, but we don't see him walking up the stairs to his cell. Bongino also said none of this video was doctored. It was the original, raw footage from the camera.
We're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
But a review by multiple video forensic experts found several indications this may not be raw footage.
So this headline from Wired reads, the FBI's Jeffrey Epstein prison video had nearly 3 minutes cut out. According to Wired, newly uncovered metadata reveals a 2-minute and 53-second chunk was removed from what the federal government called raw footage. So joining me live now is Dhruv Mehrotra, an investigative data reporter for Wired and the author of that piece. Dhruv, thanks for being here. First things first, how did you figure out about this missing chunk, and how was that video then edited?
Yeah, so on Monday, the DOJ and FBI released what it called raw surveillance footage from an area adjacent to the special housing unit where Jeffrey Epstein was found dead. And soon after they released the data, we downloaded the files that the DOJ released and looked into sort of the hidden information that's embedded in most digital files that can show you a bit about how and when something was created, edited, or saved. It's kind of like a video's digital paper trail. And in this case, the metadata showed the footage had been edited using Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a professional editing tool, and it was saved several times and stitched together from 2 separate clips.
All right, so you take that information, you see that. How does this help then piece together what happened in this case? So what are the new takeaways?
Yeah, so the main findings from the piece and the analysis are basically that the quote-unquote raw video was actually stitched together from 2 separate clips and exported multiple times over more than 3 hours on a single day in May. When we looked at the metadata from the source clips, we found that 2 minutes and 53 seconds were removed from one of the original files that they used. And that cut happens actually right before the now infamous missing minute, which is like a gap in footage that occurred from 11:59 p.m. on August 9th to midnight the following morning. And, you know, this doesn't just really undercut the claim that the DOJ has made that this video is raw and unedited, but it also potentially contradicts the DOJ's explanation that the missing minute was due to a routine system reset. Because, you know, based on the original file that we're looking at, there appears to be footage that could cover the time frame in question.
So you're saying it's not raw, it's been edited?
Yes, it's very clearly been processed by powerful editing software.
You've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story?
I don't
and so
understand
upset about how it's been handled.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
The findings of that review, the Attorney General briefed you on
On
that.
what? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein. On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the Attorney General. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements, we've had a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
And because it was actually even before that administration, right? They've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me.
Wall Street Journal published a piece with this striking headline. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. Now, their friendship, you'll recall, went back decades. The article details a moment from 2003 and some of the letters that Epstein's one-time girlfriend and accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, gathered for a birthday tribute album. According to the Wall Street Journal, pages from the album are among documents examined by Justice Department officials who investigated Epstein and Maxwell. The paper, citing people who have reviewed the pages. Here's the passage about then-citizen Trump's letter. Quote, this is from the Wall Street Journal. The letter bearing Trump's name, which was reviewed by the Journal, is bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. A pair of small arcs denotes the woman's breasts, and the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist, mimicking pubic hair. The letter concludes, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Now, the president's denial. Quoting again from the Wall Street Journal, in an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, Trump denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story," he said. "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." The president also threatened legal action, saying, quote, I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else.
Donald. So it goes like Donald, colon. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. For me, I mean, that's a kind of weird, what is enigmas? I mean, is that a word that Trump and Epstein used to convey something that they shared? I mean, we know that. So I think this will raise many more questions about how much how close Trump was, let's put it this way, to what Epstein was involved in.
The Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump was told by his Justice Department in a briefing in May that his name were in, quote, a truckload of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. They also note that, quote, many other high-profile figures were also named. And they know that, and I think it's important for viewers to know this as well, that being mentioned in these records is not a full-out sign of wrongdoing. The Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the number 2 at the Department of Justice, told the Wall Street Journal that they made Trump aware of these findings and then again noted that there was nothing in the files that warranted further investigation. In a response on this story to CBS News, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung noted that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club many years ago, quote, for being a creep, and said that this latest reporting from the Wall Street Journal is, quote, nothing more than a continuation of fake news stories concocted by Democrats and liberal media, just like the Obama Russiagate scandal. It's worth noting as well that Trump does have a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal for their earlier reporting earlier this month about a suggestive drawing and letter that Trump penned to Jeffrey Epstein, which the president himself has denied.
There are reports that President Trump or that FBI agents going through the Epstein files were told to flag President Trump's name if it came up. Is that something the president was aware of or something that he directed those agents or the Department of Justice to do?
I don't believe that's something the White House was aware of. You'd have to ask the FBI.
Not only is the department going to redact identifying information about the victims, which they very well should, they are also going to redact identifying information about anyone else whose name might come up in the documents in question. Quote, the department will work with the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York to make appropriate redactions of victim-related information and other personal identifying information prior to releasing the transcripts. Obviously, all victim-related information absolutely must be redacted. But also, like, why redact the other personal identifying information? I mean, if you are trying to look like you're transparent, avoid looking like you're covering something up, that seems like probably not the best way to go about it. But that is not the only big revelation we got today. The top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which of course oversees the FBI and the Department of Justice, now says that Bureau agents were instructed to flag to DOJ about any Epstein records that mentioned Donald Trump. Get this is a new letter out today to Attorney General Pam Bondi from Ranking Member Dick Durbin, who writes this, quote, according to information my office received, you pressured the FBI to put approximately 1,000 personnel in its information management division on 24-hour shifts to review approximately 100,000 Epstein-related records, adding, quote, my office was told these personnel were instructed to flag any records in which President Trump was mentioned. What?
Number 2 at the Justice Department and former defense attorney for President Trump met with federal prisoner Ghislaine Maxwell at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence at the nearby federal correctional institution. This is video of her returning to prison after the meeting. Blanche was sent, at least in part, to try to calm some of the furor among the president's supporters about how the administration has handled the Epstein controversy. Earlier this week, Blanche posted on social media, for the first time, the Department of Justice is reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell to ask, what do you know? Point of fact, it's not exactly the first time that the federal prosecutors have had contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. More on that in a moment. Maxwell's lawyer briefly spoke to reporters afterwards.
Productive day today with the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and Ghislaine Maxwell. First, we want to thank the Deputy Attorney General for being so professional with all of us and for meeting with us. He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped, she never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
Do you support the Justice Department seeking a new interview with Ghislaine Maxwell? And do you urge the Attorney General to seek one?
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
Your Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much.
Ghislaine Maxwell returns to prison in shackles, carrying a mystery box and sparking intense speculation.
If you look closely, she's carrying a box of material.
What's in the box? And how will we ever find out?
Could it be new evidence? The secret Epstein Files?
Could be items that she brought to the meeting, or maybe it's information they want her to review.
Maxwell was back on the hot seat today, facing more questions from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Her lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, was present the entire time.
Where the MAGA kind of media has now embraced the position where maybe Ghislaine is the victim and she needs a pardon. So let's take a listen.
She just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right, granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not good.
She may be a victim. Apparently that's not good. So, you may wonder, who is this guy? This is Greg Kelly over at Newsmax. And then you may ask, what is Newsmax? Newsmax, obviously, the pro-Trump channel that really exploded after 2020. And then you may want to take a look at their board of directors. And on that board of directors is a guy whose name is Alex Acosta. Does anybody remember who that is? Oh, right. He's the prosecutor who gave the sweetheart deal to Ghislaine Maxwell and to Jeffrey Epstein. In fact, Alex Acosta's sweetheart deal, the non-prosecution agreement, is the very reason that Ghislaine is trying to protest her innocence all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be spoken about. Because, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about. And they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them. They talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if cooperating?
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't name appearing in the Epstein Files ever?
No, I was never briefed. No.
Did you ask how? What are you hoping Todd Blanche interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell? What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it. She is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump. Okay?
Mr. President, was part of the rush to get this deal done to knock the Jeffrey Epstein story out?
Oh, you got to be kidding with that. No, had nothing to do with it. Only you would think that.
President, you completely rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider, and why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that aspect of it, but right now it would be inappropriate to talk about it. So.
Mr. President.
You have said that you have not been briefed on the Epstein Files, but
or your name has not appeared in the Epstein Files. But doesn't the AG have to tell you if your name is...
Well, I haven't been overly interested in it. You know, it's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. I can say this, those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey, they were run by Garland, they were run by Biden and all of the people that actually ran the government, including the auto pen. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything, I assume they would have released it. The whole thing is a hoax. They ran the files. I was running against somebody that ran the files. If they had something, they would have released. Now, they can easily put something in the files that's a phony.
I know exactly what's happening, but I certainly can't talk about partners.
Can you trust what she's telling him? She's a convicted trafficker who's eager to get out of prison.
Well, you know, he's a professional lawyer. I think he's been through things like this before. But, you know, you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard.
Mr. President, you said yesterday your falling out with Jeffrey Epstein was over him taking some of the workers from your business. But your administration in the past said that you threw him out because he was a creep. So can you explain that discrepancy?
Well, maybe they're the same thing, you know, it's sort of a little bit of the same thing. But no, he took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it. And I said, stay the hell out of here.
Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. Just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them
young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young
Yeah.
women.
What did they do?
In the spa.
Jobs?
In the spa.
Yeah, it's people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, does that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people, yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
Giuffre's family calling it shocking to hear Trump say that he was aware that Virginia had been stolen from Mar-a-Lago. It makes us ask if he was aware of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal actions. They also pointed to what Trump told New York Magazine in 2002, 2 years after Giuffre was allegedly trafficked to Epstein. Trump praising Epstein, telling the magazine, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." Today, I asked the president.
You said that Jeffrey Epstein stole people from Mar-a-Lago. At the time, did you know why he was taking those young women, including Virginia, who was just 16 at the time?
I would figure it was ABC fake news that would ask that question, one of the worst. But no, I don't know really why. But I said, if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring or whatever he's doing. I didn't like it, and we threw him out.
Giuffre died by suicide earlier this year.
For the August recess.
So here's what I would say about the Epstein Files. There is no daylight between the House Republicans, the House, and the President on maximum transparency. He has said that he wants all the credible files related to Epstein to be released. He's asked the Attorney General to request the grand jury files of the court. All of that is in process right now. My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing. And if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
So no vote on this resolution before August recess.
We had this concern. I mean, obviously we've seen the
conservatives shut down the House floor routinely. You saw that you had to pull the rule because of fear of Epstein votes.
No, we don't have any fear. No, hold on. No, Reese, no. There's no fear here. No, there's no fear. There's no fear. We're not going to allow the Democrats to use this as a political cudgel.
Breaking news, the Republican-controlled House Rules Committee has just voted to block the release of the Epstein Files. Joining us now, the member of Congress who forced that vote, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Congressman Khanna, give us the latest situation with the House Rules Committee.
Well, it's very disappointing. I had a very simple amendment that the full Epstein Files should be released. It went for a vote to the House Rules Committee. Jim McGovern, who is the ranking member for House Democrats, made sure that all 4 Democrats voted for the release. Ralph Norman, a Republican, actually joined with the Democrats, saying that there should be a vote on the full release. Chip Roy didn't show up for the vote, but 7 other Republicans blocked it. So as of now, there is going to be no vote tomorrow, up or down vote on whether the Epstein Files should be released.
Congressman Massey, let me turn to you. What say you? Are you being hypocritical by demanding this now and not sooner?
No, not at all. Look, the release of the Epstein Files is emblematic of what Trump ran for and why he got the populist vote. There seems to be a class of people beyond the law, beyond the judicial system, that operates outside of all of that. And we all thought that when Trump was elected, he would be the bull in the china shop and that he would break that up and bring transparency. Frankly, it wasn't until just recently that I realized that people who were allegedly working on this weren't sincere in their efforts. And also, politics is the art of the doable. There's enough public pressure right now that we can get 218 votes and force this to a vote on the floor. Somebody should ask Speaker Mike Johnson, why did he recess Congress early so that he didn't have to deal with the Epstein issue? He can bring this to the floor at any point, yet he's chosen to send us home early for August recess.
Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Department of Justice ought to be digging into. This is about years and years of international sex trafficking. None of this is a hoax. None of it is a scam. And I'd like to say I consider it insulting to the intelligence of the American people for the Trump administration to simply say there is nothing to investigate here.
He was arrested in 2019. These reports are supposed to be filed within 60 days. This delay in reporting should be taken up by these committees. These big banks should not be let off the hook in supporting and enabling human trafficking. Some have claimed that this whole thing is fake. Well, then release the documents and transactions and show the public. But the Treasury Department, again, has thousands of pages that I should encourage my colleagues to push for release and let the public decide.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion table is agreed to.
Mr. Chair?
Gentlewoman?
I would request a record roll call vote.
The gentlewoman has requested the yeas and nays.
The ayes are 22 and the nays are 17.
Motion is not agreed to. Motion to table is agreed to. Is there any? We'll move to the next amendment.
Republicans in the Financial Services Committee voted to block an amendment from you, Congressmember Rashida Tlaib. This is on a different issue, which would have forced the release of Jeffrey Epstein's financial files, particularly details about his shady, suspicious financial transactions, the dead child sex trafficker. Recent reports reveal billions of dollars in payments to women, including those in Belarus and Russia. You also signed on to a House bipartisan measure introduced by Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna demanding the release of the files. In this last 30 seconds we have, Why is this so critical to you? And this on the second day meeting of Trump's former personal lawyer, now the Deputy Attorney General, and Ghislaine Maxwell.
I think it's important to know there are three banks, very large banks, JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America and another Bank Mellon in New York. All three of them did not, within the regulations or requirements, within 60 days of those transactions by Epstein, report those transactions. They're, again, required within 60 days. Amy, they waited until he was arrested in 2019. We're not talking about 100 or 200, over 4,000 transactions amounting to $1.5 billion. It is important and critical to understand who was involved directly in the human trafficking of young women.
3 seconds.
Who, again, enabled it.
Democratic Congressmember Rashida Tlaib, I want to thank you for being with us, of Michigan, the only Palestinian-American member of Congress. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.
We're just learning former Jeffrey Epstein associate and convict Ghislaine Maxwell has been transferred to a federal prison in Texas. Maxwell serving out her 20-year prison sentence in Tennessee for grooming and abusing underage girls with Jeffrey Epstein. Now she's got a new home. No explanations given for the move to Texas.
And so now, in what is a shocking and frankly appalling scene reminiscent of Jeffrey Epstein's original sweetheart deal, the origin of this entire scandal, the one that allowed him to freely head home from prison for 6 hours at a time, 6 days a week. Maxwell's new prison is a minimum security federal prison camp. These facilities feature less prison staff, limited or no fencing, along with much more freedom of movement and recreational options than any other level of federal prison. Not only do these facilities usually house nonviolent and white-collar criminals, listen to this. NBC News is reporting that Maxwell was ineligible to be transferred to this kind of facility, to a minimum security prison camp, because she is a convicted sex offender. And that's according to the Bureau of Prisons' own designation policy. The BOP had to reach in and waive the rule specifically for Maxwell to allow a sex trafficker, a sexual abuser of girls, to be moved to her current facility.
The defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Good to have you both here on a Friday night. Shan, first to you. Under normal circumstances, how would a person qualify for movement to a lower security facility? What conditions or circumstances would they have to meet?
I think we have to start with the point that most convicted sex offenders wouldn't qualify for this extremely low level. I mean, they can have a low level minimum security, but this is a camp. It's like the lowest level meant for white collar people who are considered to be no danger to folks. Having said that, for this type of a change to occur, there usually has to be some extenuating reasons. For example, let's say there's a medical reason you need to move them to a facility with a hospital or a place where they're doing special treatment for sex offenders. None of those seem to apply here. I suppose you might also, if someone had been incarcerated for many years, exemplary record, that's why it justifies that. Again, there's no such situation here. And so there's nothing that's stopping the Bureau of Prisons or the Justice Department from explaining why this happened. There's no security risk to say we did this for medical reasons, some family reason, but not explaining that really raises a lot of questions, and normally this would not happen.
Are tracking reports of an Epstein strategy dinner hosted by Vice President J.D. Vance at his residence in Washington. Now, this was supposed to be attended by top Department of Justice officials, but in just the past few hours, we've heard reports that the strategy session may have been canceled or moved to another location or just rescheduled. There's a lot we still do not know, but here's what we do know. The first hint of that session came yesterday. Multiple sources told CNN and others that Vance's dinner would be to discuss the administration's mishandling of the so-called files related to the child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Vance's spokesman denied that, saying, quote, there was never a supposed meeting scheduled at the vice president's residence to discuss Epstein's strategy. But multiple sources confirmed to NBC News that a bunch of people were gathering to discuss their Epstein strategy with the vice president, among other topics.
Is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax, and that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit, okay?
Even speculation she might be pardoned. How does that make you feel?
Obviously not really good. Sorry. I'm extremely upset. I'm angry. I'm disgusted. To be denied your innocence, denied your justice, and then to have your healing taken away from you without any consent, it really feels like a part of me is dying inside. Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't deserve any mercy. She doesn't deserve any grace. She deserves nothing. To be clear, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for her counts of child exploitation and trafficking. Why would anybody give somebody like her, who is a monster and a liar, a time of day to explain anything? She doesn't know anything, and if she did, she would have already had the opportunity to speak. That opportunity has passed. The fact that there is all this talk about her wanting to come forward, no, absolutely not, is a slap in the face to all of us.
If the president's not ruling it out, a pardon, and he just emphasizes that he has the ability to do so, I wonder what you would want to say to him about even considering that.
Yeah, I just would want him to know it would be devastating for the victims of Epstein and Maxwell. I mean, this was the one person who was held accountable for these crimes, and she was held accountable for her crimes, not for someone else's, but for the ones that she committed. And I think there's many other ways for him to move forward with this that would actually be indicative of him not being involved, that would not involve her, right? Releasing more information, as people are clamoring for. I think anything that involves her participation would be seen as a sign of guilt.
Being reported from CNN that there is a meeting, they're having a meeting tonight at the Vice President's house to come up with a strategy on how to handle the Epstein case. Ghislaine Maxwell, should they release her video? Should they release her conversations that she recently had with the Attorney General? When you hear that there is a strategy and that they're trying to figure out a way to have a united front, what do you think about all this, Amanda?
None of this feels normal, and none of it feels above board. There were no conversations with survivors and the family of survivors. There was no outreach to hear that side of the story, which is the center of this story. They're completely being forgotten.
Would you like to have conversations with the Trump administration or the law enforcement officials on this case? Would either one of you like that?
100%. I think we would be the first ones to show up and give our sister's testimony and remind people why she needs to be behind jails and the correct facility.
I have one thing to say about this, and I really want people to hear me, and I want them to remember this. Ghislaine Maxwell started dating and working for Jeffrey Epstein in her late 20s and stayed working with him, I guess, through mid-30s. She molested teen girls. That one fact, and she's convicted, that one fact should have caused the key to be thrown away, because there's not a parent in this country that could empathize with a grown woman molesting teen girls. Not a single parent should be empathizing with that. That should have been enough. But it went farther, that she sold those teen girls. And so actions, like I said, speak louder than words. The president's lawyer went and spoke to this person that molested teen girls rather than actually hear survivor voices.
And she now sits in a, we'll just say, cushier place than she was before, markedly more comfortable.
She is more protected than survivors are in this moment.
I think that she should be moved back to the facility where she was, and that's where she's serving her time. Why should she be moved to a lower facility with not as much protection? And is it more freedom there? No, she should be moved back to the one that she was at and serve the 20 years there. She was convicted of sex trafficking of children. So why shouldn't she be there? And it's also interesting. I've always wondered, why is she the only one currently in prison? And who are these other alleged pedophiles? And should they be eventually serving their time if they allegedly were doing something wrong?
Missing from the transparency, of course, is the obvious question: why on earth would the Deputy Attorney General take a private meeting with a convicted child sex trafficker who his boss, Donald Trump, has ties to, and then, as soon as she tells him what she told him, gets upgraded to a lower security federal prison? Now, that question remains unanswered. What we do know from the trove of materials they released is that much of the interview with Maxwell seems to be an attempt to support the narrative that, surprise, surprise, the Department of Justice and Donald Trump have been pushing. Nothing to see here.
Never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
But here's the thing. Maxwell did not stop there. She went on to tell the Deputy Attorney General of the United States that she, the lady who was charged with conspiring with Epstein to abuse minors, who's convicted of that and doing time for it, that she, get this, ready for this? That she never saw Jeffrey Epstein engage in anything that was non-consensual.
At some point, he was getting massages 7 days a week, sometimes multiple massages a day. Women have said that were there, that say they were there giving him massages, said that those included some sort of sexual conduct, however you define that in the broadest sense, not just a traditional massage regularly. So what did you see and hear at the time? Where does that leave you in your mind with what happened?
Okay, so I saw Epstein with women. What I mean by that is he would have women around him. So anytime I saw anybody with him, they were happy to be with him. So I never saw an aggressive move. I never saw anything that was
non-consensual.
Well, thank you. Okay. I never saw anything that was non-consensual.
Did you see him engage in sexual conduct during massages?
Well, you could define sexual conduct as in, I did see women who could have been, less than normally clad for massage, but especially on the island where they would be in a bikini or possibly even topless. Yeah, I did see that.
Nope. Did you get all that? Didn't see anything. Women around him all the time, but seemed happy to be there. Everything was consensual. Jeffrey Epstein, the New York financier. Jeffrey Epstein with the island. Jeffrey Epstein never violated the consent of the women around him, the girls around him. I mean, some of them were 16, right? That's what Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who helped recruit the victims. I mean, and we can go chapter and verse about what she did, how she showed them, according to these victims, how to submit themselves to Jeffrey Epstein, how she threatened them if they came forward. The victims who say it was anything but consensual, that he was sexually assaulting them, that he was raping 16-year-old girls.